Well, Jimmy Barnes is recovering in hospital after undergoing open heart surgery yesterday. The 67-year-old was suffering from bacterial pneumonia, which then spread to his heart.
His wife Jane posted an update on social media overnight telling fans that, quote, Jimmy has made it through his surgery and is now recovering in the ICU. And for more, let's bring in Sunrise Entertainment editor, Mr. Peter Ford. Pete, morning to you. So have we heard anything else from Barnesy since that update last night?
Still resting, still recovering, still in ICU. That's all standard practice. It was exactly 24 hours ago that we all took that gasp of air when Jimmy himself released the details of what he said was bad news. He called it bad news himself, and the fact that he was going in for open heart surgery yesterday morning. All very, very rapid. So I think yesterday, throughout the day, so many of us were refreshing our social media to see if there was any news. And thankfully last night when Jane took over Jimmy's social media to present some lovely photographs. I think those photographs may have been taken pre-op, but certainly post-op, Jane got on and said, look, he's doing really well. Thank you for all the good messages. So, yeah, he's on the road to recovery. Everything's gone well.
Right. So he was actually admitted more than 2 weeks ago. How did it suddenly get this serious where he's having open heart surgery?
Yeah, well, in a sense, it actually was a blessing in disguise that he was in hospital and they discovered that this valve that he had put in some years ago was now infected and they could then go and do that. So it actually was quite fortuitous how it all played out. The downside of all of this, of course, is that Jimmy will be out of action for a while. Some industry estimates say it could be as much as 4 months. And, of course, during January, February, that's a really busy time for Jimmy with a lot of the big summer gigs right around the country. That's not to say those gigs won't go ahead, but Jimmy's usually the headliner on those shows, and I would imagine unless a miracle occurs, he's not going to be able to do that for quite some time. It's one thing to get well and to get out of hospital and to be sent home, but you've then got to build up your stamina to go on stage and do the Jimmy Barnes act. You know, that takes a whole level of fitness that he's going to have to build up to.
Pete, doesn't it speak volumes to the bloke that even before he was going in for this surgery, he was expressing frustration for fans about that delay? You talk about the fact that he's not going to be able to be on stage for a little while.
Yeah, hates letting fans down, hates letting promoters down, hates letting crews down. He's been a big thing, of course, during those years when we didn't have a lot of live gigs happening. He's been so concerned about getting the crews back on the road and getting them work to be able to feed their families. So none of it's ideal, but he will get through this. I mean, someone who I know knows him really well said Jimmy Barnes is like a cat. He's got 9 lives. So hopefully he's only used up a couple so far.
He seemed very fit recently, and in fact, in that statement that he released yesterday, he said he was in some of the fittest health of his life.
Yeah, well, the Mushroom 50 concert, which he opened, he was absolutely firing on all cylinders. And then to think 48 hours after that, he was suddenly in a hospital bed. But at this point in time, all is going well, but that doesn't mean we don't stop sending out good wishes and prayers.
So just talk us through, you know, let's say he bounces back to good health just quickly, Pete. Early next year, when do we expect he could perhaps first be back on stage?
Well, I think nothing is official, but it seems very unlikely January and February gigs are going to be going ahead. But as he himself said, watch and wait. I think what they want to do is line up replacements and then announce it.
Yeah, and hopefully his fitness will help him get through because he went in very fit. Thank you very much, Pete.
Thanks, Pete.
All our best to Jimmy and the family.